Hey there, this is Linda, and I'm so excited to dive into showing you April in my Hobonichi Cousin. So let's get into it. Okay, so as usual, I start with the beginning trackers here, and I did a pretty good job of keeping up with my tracker. I think I've said in previous videos, I regret putting hiking on here because I don't really do that in the winter. Thankfully in May, it's going to probably start showing up on my tracker, but I think next year I would store it somewhere else because that's the kind of thing I do at most like 4 times a month. And I think I want to reserve this tracker for things that I want to accomplish every day. Moving into my monthly. So I switched up my plan in the middle of the year after March. Previously, I was starting to try to like decorate the monthlies, and that really just didn't work for me. What I feel like works the best for me for the monthlies is to use this as for future planning. So these are all appointments and that kind of thing that I had on my calendar before they happened, so I knew to kind of plan ahead. And I just used a simple purple color scheme. I'm just using mild liners on here. And then I have some checklists of some tasks that I want to accomplish during the month. But these are things that don't really have a specific date to do them, just things I want to finish at some point in the month. And as you can see, I was more successful with other things, some things than other things, and that's fine. This is a very ambitious list, but I think that I want to kind of have it that way because then everything is all in one place and things just get migrated to the following month rather than forgotten. Okay, then moving to my weeklies. So you guys, I think my weeklies are like my favorite so far in here. So what I'm doing with my weekly spread is I am using this as a place to document almost after the fact. So I am adding appointments in here before they happen so I don't forget about them when I check in on my weekly. And I am adding in some tasks. So along the bottom here, I'm putting my cleaning tasks. Here I have a to-do list of things that I want to try to accomplish during the week. And then I have a focus where I'm putting a few things that I really want to be my focus of the week. I'm adding my dinners across the bottom and the weather across the top. But in the middle here, which is the bulk of the day. So I'm kind of blocking it off here at 9 p.m. because I never really have anything scheduled after 9 p.m. I am just using this whole section where I'm just documenting kind of what I did during the day and using this as a reference for when I'm working on Project Life. I'm having a little bit of fun with it, adding some stamps, adding some color. I'm loving the rainbow theme, which is just a very me thing, something I've done in my planners for a long time, is had this like red on Monday through pink on Sunday kind of rainbow. And I did that with a lot of my daily lists, but I never really did it with weeklies. And it just kind of hit me recently to start doing that with my weeklies. And I really love how it's turning out. I'm adding my work schedule on here, and I tend to add that kind of after the fact because my work is very flexible in terms of, you know, I leave when I'm done with what I'm working on or when I feel like I'm done with what I'm working on. So I will, I tend to start at the same time every day, and then I, you know, will adjust it as needed. I do have like meetings and stuff that will be on here, but then I will add things in at the end of the day or throughout the day to kind of just have a record. So when I go back and do these for Project Life, I can see all of these notes. Plus it's its own little memory keeping page. I had a little bit of fun in this one, adding some larger titles. I thought it was kind of fun, but I don't think it's my favorite. I think this one ended up being my favorite one this month, but I did enjoy kind of playing around with a few different ideas. I like adding the stamps in and, you know, a little bit of lettering. And then I do really like how this one came out also. What I didn't like about this one is I kind of fell off on adding the colors. But for this one, I stopped using the mild liners. So I used mild liners up through here. These are the Crayola Super Tip markers, which are just super, super cheap markers that I got from our local grocery store. And I just like them for the basic rainbow, and these are what I'm using on a lot of my dailies as well. So you'll see that coming up. And then the last week, I didn't really add much on here because this was week in the life. And if you are watching this video because you are more of a planner person and are unsure what week in the life is, I will leave links to that down in the description box below so you can learn more about it. But week in the life is a project that was started by Ellie Edwards where you document in detail 1 week in your life. So it's kind of a memory keeping project where you're just kind of documenting the details of everyday life for 1 week, and you do it 1 week a year, and then you can kind of reflect on and see how your life changes over the years. It is a super fun project, but when focusing on documenting week in the life, I'm documenting everything that happened elsewhere. So I don't need to also put it in my planner. So I did put some like prospective meetings on here, and I put like my work schedule, but beyond that, I didn't add much to this page because I was busy writing it in elsewhere. Okay, moving to the dailies. So I started out April with my goals for the month, and I checked off the ones that I did. I put a line through the ones that I like partially did or like worked towards, and then I did not do very much of my fun ones. So I'm going to add that to my May goals. It is now May 1st, and so I'm still kind of working on putting those goals together, but I did a decent job. And then flipping into my dailies. So I made a plan for April that I was going to set up my to-do list every single day. And I did that. I set it up every single day in April. So I didn't have any like blank pages that didn't have a daily plan. And I did really like that. But I found that sometimes I want those blank pages because then I can create collections. And if I had just like a daily list and a title, then I had this like gap, which wasn't really big enough for a collection, but it was you know, too much space to just leave blank. So in May, I'm going to use the daily page as a daily planning page when I need it. And when I don't need it, I will leave it entirely blank so that I can use it for a collection in the future. So I here was doing a little bit of like reflection. I did do a little bit of journaling. I covered up some stuff. This was tax information because I filed my taxes, and I just was using this to like as a general notes section. I was doing a little bit of memory keeping here so that I could have some stuff that I could look back on when I'm doing my project life, but it's also just its own kind of notes. And then of course I have my to-do list. So I started this style, I guess I started this in this month, where I'm back to using this same header style that I had used before, but with the Crayola Super Tips. And then I was creating these like bubbles where I was writing out my titles and then using this section for like all sorts of notes and reflections. And then I'm adding in cute little things I'm printing off the computer, things that like screenshots from Instagram. I'm adding in some washi. I love this as a home for these types of things because I didn't really have a place to store those this year in like a project, and I wanted something where I could save these little screenshots and then delete the screenshot so I have it like memorialized somewhere, but it's not taking up space on my computer or my iCloud. This like spread, I love how this one turned out. This one I planned the night before, and I had it was a busy day coming up ahead on Wednesday. So Tuesday night, I took a little bit of time to plan it out, and I added some thoughts. So these were like things that I wanted to accomplish during the day or things I was excited about, just looking forward to the day ahead. And I really liked that. And I just like how like this part it looks cute. I just like how it turned out. And then on Thursday, it is super busy, like get all the stuff done day. So I wrote these huge task lists that actually went into a second column. And then I like decorated here super productive day because that was kind of what this day was. I was just checking everything off my to-do list, and you can see I was very productive. Moving into Friday and Saturday here. So these days, this is kind of a good example of days where I just had my task list, but I was kind of busy, so I didn't really have a ton of time to add in here. I did write this little paragraph, but all of this stuff was extra, which is a collection where I'm just kind of trying to figure out my 2024 planner and journal lineup, which I know super, super early, but I was thinking ahead and trying to kind of get an idea of what I want. And I'm already kind of decided on a few things. I think I know what my everyday carry is going to be. I know what my daily journal is going to be. I'm still really undecided on my craft planner. But I'm pretty sure that my daily journal is going to be a Hobonichi Cousin and my everyday carry is going to be a common planner. I'm 100% on the common planner. I would switch to it now, but they are sold out. But I'm still undecided on the craft planner, and I didn't want to let go of the Hobonichi Cousin completely. So I like it for a daily journal. So this is kind of what I was talking about before though, where I have this collection in here and I would have liked to have just like a blank page to add that on. And then I filled in the gap here with another thing printed off of Instagram. Then moving into the next week, this is where I got this new idea, and I can't remember now where I got the idea. Oh, it's Nicole Plans. And so I will link that down below. And I liked her, she was doing some headers that were similar to this. And I decided to switch over to this style, which I really love how it looks. I think it's just more fun than this style, and I probably will switch back at some point. But so far I've been sticking with this style through the rest of the month. And this is using, again, the Crayola Super Tips and just kind of adding in a few lines here as my headers. And I love how this spread came out. Moving into Tuesday, again, I'm doing, my to-do list. I'm adding in a few things during the day. And then adding in some random quotes, reflections, pictures. And I really like how this came out. I saw a lot of people have been doing this where they print out photos and cut out around the photo to stick in their planner. And that's something, it's funny to me because as a scrapbooker, this was the style in scrapbooking like 20 years ago, and scrapbookers have really, really moved away from that. And it's fun to see it again. And I tried it here and I think it looks really fun. I'm not bringing it back in scrapbooking, but in my planner, I really like that style. Moving into Thursday and Friday. So here I actually had a section where going into the weekend, I wanted to, I just kind of need to figure out a bunch of craft plans that I had for like the next few weekends. So I just laid it all out here, just on one page, which I think was really nice and just helpful and a good way to use up the rest of this page, because Friday was one of those days that I didn't really need my daily to-do list. I filled it out and made it anyways, but I didn't really use it because I was just so busy. Then the weekend here, I love this one. I printed out, this was drawn by Brandy Kincaid on Instagram, and I added this in here. I thought it was super cute. I tried doing a straight one here, but I like the swoosh better. What I did find though is these Crayola Super Tips are water-based, so if you get them wet at all, they smudge, even if they've been on there for a while and perfectly dry. So something to keep in mind with those. Here I was writing down some notes from Week in the Life. There was a class I took, and then some notes just on some stuff I was going to say on a Week in the Life Zoom, and then just some thoughts for my own project. Moving into the next week, this was a busy day where I had a lot of stuff I needed to prep, so I used up the full page. And I like how this one turned out. This was a great use of a full page when I needed it. I just don't need that much space most days. Then Tuesday was another one of those days where I wrote it in here and I didn't really need it. I added a few extra things in here, but a lot of it's blank. I hoped to go back and fill it in, but I'm giving you guys a real look at what my April looks like. I'm moving into May. I probably will not come back and fill this page in ever, which is fine, but it is what it is. If I ever do, it'll be, it's after May 1st. So it's been, a few days, a few weeks. So, that's just reality that I'm going to have some gaps. So I was planning, here's another one that I had a big blank space, and I'm planning an upcoming vacation to Montreal. So I started trying to write in some things that I need to do. And this was another one where I just wanted a blank page for a collection. I haven't really planned the trip yet, as you can see, but I started my collection here, and I will probably create it again when I'm actually ready to plan the trip on a blank page, probably in May. Here's Thursday. This was another one that You know, I did do a lot, but then during the day I kind of cut it off here. I added in a printout thing and some doodles, and I like how that turned out. This one was a day where I was doing a bunch of like money stuff, like adding up things that I spent and stuff. So it was just kind of sloppy, but it's nice to just have like that extra scratch paper that I can always just use. And I always try to remind myself that that's what this is for. Like, it doesn't have to be beautiful all the time. It's supposed to be functional first. Here again, I had a bunch of blank space. So I just wrote in a quote on here. I was on a Zoom call with some friends, and I was just working on this hand lettering while chatting with my friends. And I kind of ran out of space, but it worked out. Here was another one where I had a lot of empty space. I printed something and added it here, but again, there's a bunch of blank space I never got to. Probably not going to ever fill it in. Then it goes into last week, which was week in the life. So I had my daily tasks and to-do lists as usual, my header as usual, and then I had a checklist of things I was collecting for week in the life. So if you follow the Week in the Life community, you probably saw over there that I did share, I had a checklist that I had made on paper here, which is something that I had done last year in 2022 when I did Week in the Life, where I created a checklist for things I want to collect each day. And I had put that up here in the front of my planner, but I realized that I really just wanted it on my daily page. And I guess I could have cut those out and glued them down, but I just rewrote it every day. And I like this as just a home to collect that stuff. So that's kind of just what I did every day during Week in the Life, was I was collecting that stuff. Sometimes there's some blank space. I didn't get to fill it in, partially because I was just working on a Week in the Life. The month was almost over. I added a few things in here, but it was pretty much just Week in Life. My bills, doing my bills, adding in my notes, but otherwise it's mostly blank. And then that is the end of the month there. And that's how the month went. There's some blank spaces, but there's no blank pages in my dailies because I did commit myself to adding my daily tasks and my header every single day in April, and I stuck with it. But I am not doing that again in May. In May, I'm going to do it when I need it. And if I don't need it, I'm going to just leave the page blank, and I will use it later down the road. I really love this header style. I plan to stick with it into May. I don't know that I will stick with it completely. One thing that I did note though was I was trying to like thicken this lettering, and then I stopped because it was just a lot of work to do that. So maybe I need like a thicker black pen that is not a brush tip to write like that thicker black, but I don't really have a great one that is a thick black that works well on the Hobonichi paper and is like very, very bold black, but not brush tip. So I don't know, I probably have something. I will check it out in my stash. But yeah, that's a look at how my month went. I hope that you enjoyed this video and that it gave you some thoughts for what to do in your Hobonichi Cousin. And let me know down in the comments below if you have any questions. Otherwise, I will see you guys all in the next one. Bye.